Good evening and welcome to my home on Modern Railway, Bedstead Junction. Now the locomotive you can see going around here tonight is a Hornby 8F. Okay, it's tender driven, and I've only just received this today. Now I'll be showing you quite a lot of the features of this locomotive, so you need to bear with me. It might be quite a long one this, and I'll show you what I did to get this one running right. Now what I would say is that I've had this one out of the box, you can see. I've checked it ran. Okay, it actually did run, okay, but it made an awful squeaking noise. Okay, which if a loco could speak, it would be saying oil me please, which is what I've done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where you need to oil these. Now I did do a video early on my mate, which I wasn't pleased with unfortunately. My hand got in the way of everything, didn't realise it. So sort of a bit of still a steep learning curve, even after about 2 years of me filming on these railways, modern railways. I'm still learning even now what about filming and filming techniques. But you can see I give this one a good oiling, and also I clean the wheels. Now there is a separate video which I've made, which you can look up on, where I clean the wheels of a Hunt class, and I did actually follow the same procedure on this particular one. Okay, so and you can see the mess I got off from there. You can see that grey, black, and yucky, and that was quite a few cotton buds came off like that. Okay, so take a few cotton buds to get it clean, and it did have quite a good effect on the actual running. So I've given it a good oiling and clean the wheels. I've also inspected it, and it appears to be intact. Okay, there's just one loose handrail on the tender, which at the moment I'm not too concerned about. I'm going to try and put a drop of super glue on it just to secure it a bit further, and I mean a tiny drop of super glue as well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have a closer look at her, and I'm also going to remove the tender top so you can actually see what one of these motors look like. Now what we'll start by doing is looking at how this one actually was received. Okay, so just zoom right out if we can with her. Okay, so this is the box it came in. Locomotive top leak from Hornby Railways, 00 gauge scale models. Okay, now it appears to be a picture of the Flying Scotsman there, and I missed one of the. I'm kicking myself. I missed that model. Okay, and that appears to be an intercity locomotive as well there. Okay, so that's a modern electric locomotive there. So it doesn't give you a clue as to what's actually inside the box. If you actually look at the lid, and you can see it's R297 NMS 280 locomotive class 8F, and see what it says down there please. Made in England. Okay, made in England. So proof us British people can actually make these. And it came in the usual polystyrene pack there, you can see there. And you can see the detail bag there, totally unused. Absolutely unused, perfect. And one tip I would say to you, I thought the instructions were missing. But what I did is I took this foam liner from outside, and there it was inside the box. Okay, the instructions for this locomotive. And it's important to have that because it gives you an idea when the locomotive was actually made. You can see it's got the R number on there, R297. And I think it's got the 12/3/96, which indicates this one was made on the 12th of March 1996, okay? I think Hornby began to wind down their production of locomotives in their Margate factory in 1996, and finally fully transferred production over to China in 1999. So this is one of the later Margate built products. And as you can see, it runs very, very well. I mean, bear in mind, this locomotive is 24 years old with 1996, okay? And it's running absolutely perfectly. They do tend to be a little bit more robust, these locomotives from this period. From all that time, I mean, apart from just one slightly loose handrail, nothing's fallen off. In fact, it was still so well connected the other end that is quite well connected to the locomotive still. Very nice indeed. The running gear is probably a little bit more robust than what you would get today. But again, okay, it's a bit more of a, what we call it, a more robust design, let's say. Not quite to fine scale, but it meant that this locomotive would take handling. Probably why it's been running since 1996 without any difficulty. Perfect. Also, I don't know if you're able to see it on here. This one of these features you see on these locomotives. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. It might actually diminish the actual the feature as it goes round, but we'll see if we can get it in there. It's come around now, so we'll see if we can see it. Try and get focus on the locomotive as it comes round. It's got a Firebox glow, okay? I don't think you can see it very well because the tender's in the way, okay? Now what we're going to do, like I can see it perfectly well, but I don't know if you can. Okay, I'm just going around. So we're going to remove the tender top, and I'm going to show you where I actually oiled this locomotive and what I did to get it going right. Okay, many of you would have seen Wingfield motors being serviced and everything else, but we'll make a bit of an exception here. We'll do this again. And then you can see what's actually involved. Now they do provide a massive gap for the at the back of the tender there, which is going to allow me to put this rather brutal looking screwdriver in here and lift the tender top off without causing any damage. Perfect. Slid off easy peasy, okay? Now, my hand was getting in the way, but what we'll do is we'll point this out where the oiling actually went. So let me just probably use a cotton bud as a pointer, okay? On these, you'll oil it on the spindle there, okay? You can see the and then on the other side, oh, that's the side where the brushes are. I didn't dismantle the brushes or the springs, okay? And on this side, you can see it very well. Let's see if we can get that looking around better. I'm trying to show you this. Okay, you can see all the gears in the mechanism there. So you can see where I oiled it was on the spindles there, and there, and on the gears. Or everywhere where there was turning parts, I put a little drop of oil. I've got a little bit of I don't think it matters. I was going to say I got a little blob of polystyrene there. Well, look at it, it's got into the tender. You can see all the gearing there, so that's where you would gear everything. Where there's anywhere where there's spindles, okay. And it was making a screeching noise. Also, you can see underneath there, you can see all the cogs of the mechanism from underneath, and they're made in Great Britain. Go and focus. Hornby, made in Great Britain. Okay, I think I might have over-oiled this locomotive a little bit, but it's running perfectly well. You can see where I had to oil this locomotive. And then really on here, anywhere where there's rotating parts, okay, and also the axles underneath there, you can see that. And again, you can see Hornby made in Great Britain. You see underneath there, like everywhere where there's moving parts, you would oil, okay, on both sides of course. I'm going to run around without the tender on, just to see if we can see the firebox glow a little bit better, okay? And I would say it's quite a nice feature to have on a locomotive, the firebox glow. You imagine, you know, what an advance that would have been, say, if buying a locomotive, say, for the 1990s or whatever, 20 odd years ago, and you think of the way some people talk about a firebox glow as if it's a new feature. Well, Hornby have been putting the firebox glow in for years. Now, because it's a DC locomotive, of course, the firebox glow only shows up when the locomotive is running along the track. If you're a DCC, where there's constant power, but one thing I've noticed on the more modern offerings is that the firebox glow seems quite, on some of the locomotives, I'm not being funny about it, but they look a bit feeble on some of them. But this, you can see, hopefully we'll see the firebox glow in just a moment. I know we do get a bit of a problem with the width. There we go, driving now. I don't know if I'm going to have to get new traction tyres in. I'm getting a bit of a wheel spin on here. But let's see if we can have a look and see if we can see that firebox glow now. We'll follow around. There you can see, do you see it then, the firebox glow? We'll bring it around one more time. We can see it a lot better with the top removed from the tender. See it go as it went round then? Beautiful. What a fantastic feature to have, okay? So that's our Stanier 8F. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop the tender top back on again. That just clicks back on, okay? And you can see really from this locomotive, we'll just have a little bit of a recap on it before we pop the tender top back on again. I'm going to have a little look, just to check have a quick look at those traction tyres to make sure there's no oil on them. No, they look alright. Might be me being a bit over enthusiastic on the regulator. Okay, so on this side you can see all the cogs in the mechanism, where all the spindles are there that would need oiling. And on this side is where you can actually access the brush and the springs. And there's another spindle that you can see I put a drop of oil on there just in the middle. Okay. What you can see from this is that you've got a motor that's perfectly serviceable. Okay, perfectly serviceable, which means that you know, should the brushes need replacing, anything need replacing, I mean, you're basically covered. Beautiful. Now what I'm going to do is I think we'll have a look at her on the Lazy Susan. Okay, so if you just bear with me just a moment. It's obviously our first look at this locomotive, so, and then we might have a little bit of a talk about the Stanier 8Fs as well as we go along. Box is slightly damaged, never mind, we can fix that. Right. I'll be back with you in just a few seconds. Sorry about that, just have to go and fetch the turntable. We'll have a nice 360 view of this locomotive in a moment. Just going to attach the tender. You can see her in all her glory. Right, so this is a bit of an aerial view of her. Okay, we'll try and come down a bit more level. You can see all the detail there. I'm just going to probably zoom back just a little. That's it. Okay, so you've got all of the running gear there. You can see perfectly well. Want something I can use as a pointer. Sorry about this. Okay, I think this will do absolutely fine. Right, so the reversing rod on this side appears to be metal, which is something which is quite good. Got a separately fitted handrail and a steam pipe that was appears to be down the side there. Okay. You can see all the valve gear there and the running gear there. Quite robust. I don't think you're going to get too much trouble with that. Okay. And that's where you would oil everything here on all these various pivot points here. Here, all along. Okay, anywhere where there's moving parts. The whistles, the safety valves, appears to be proper metal. The cab is fully glazed. Okay, so you've got windows there, and we'll look at the front of the cab now. And there's another window here. At the front of the locomotive, you can clearly see the number there, 8035. There you've got steam pipes and everything else in part of the accessory pack, so that can go into there. The buffers are not sprung. Got the standard larger size coupling rather than them couplings there, but I'd rather have the larger coupling, to be true, for the larger decouplings. It might be a bit bigger, but you'll get less derailments and a more happier life, in my opinion. Okay, we're going to come down a little to level now. Do we see what we can so watch us come down, deeper down. Okay, so we're on more of a level with the locomotive now. A nice separately fitted handrail there on the front there. The smoke box darts is actually moulded onto the front of the smoke box there, but that's something which, if you've ever had received a locomotive in the post and the smoke box dart has, you found it a little tiny miniature piece in the bottom of the box, okay, then you probably would come to the conclusion in many ways that a moulded on smoke box dart isn't such a bad thing to have after all. Okay, horses for courses, of course. I will just go around to the other side now. Now we're going down onto more of a level with her now. So let's have a better look now. You can see here, clearly see the 280 wheel arrangements. Okay, so 2 leading wheels, 8 driving wheels, no wheels under the cab, so it's a 280. Now, before the advent of the standard 280s, I believe that again it was a consequence of the ongoing small engine policy by the LMS, by the predecessor of the Midland Railway, of a small engine policy. So their freight engines tended to be 060s. Probably 4Fs, 3 and 4Fs, and their express passenger locomotives, the biggest they had before the new designs came out in the 1920s, you would have had 440s designs. Now you can see it's in black, obviously, and picking out detail obviously with black is a little bit different, isn't it? You've got your steam pipes there, lots of nice detail there. Gap under the boiler, so not all Hornby locomotives had a gap under the boiler, believe it or not. And then we're moving on to the tender in just a moment. Let's we can move this across a little. There we go. NMS. Very nice. The coal load, I mean, it's of its time. I mean, the lumps of coal look a bit big in there, but it's of its time. Okay, so no problem with that at all. Obviously, you've got to have a high coal load to accommodate the Wingfield motor, which is inside there. You saw that's quite a bulky item. Now on the back, you've got the steps on the back, they're all moulded on. Again, the buffers, they're not sprung. Large style coupling. So again, like I say, I like the larger style coupling anyway. I'm quite happy with that. And you've got your water filler caps and everything there as well added. All told, very, very nice. Very, very nice in my opinion. Bring it around again. Okay, so down on the level now, we can have another look at where the details here on this side, and again, you can clearly see the wheel arrangement. That lovely metal reversing rod there. Very, very pleased. And I know that locomotives that come out today, they've got the fine detail and everything else, they're beautiful. I've got some locomotives and they're beautiful. But really, when you go back to these locomotives from 1996, you've got a time where you've got it's a good representation of the locomotive, and also it's robust enough for you to use and play with. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we can get, you know, it's high and mighty as we like about this hobby, but really what we're doing, well, I'm doing it in effect, is I am playing trains. Okay, I get me models out, and I love looking at me models, but I like to get my trains out and run them and have them on the track. And this is something, this locomotive here, I mean, probably somebody might have got this on Christmas Day back in 1996. And they would have had no fear about taking this out of the box. No anxiety attacks about bits falling off. Nothing like that. A good, robust, well-made product in my opinion. Okay. I'm one of those old-fashioned people where when you had things built, you bought something, it has to be built to last, okay? Because we're because back in the day, even like, well, especially when I was growing up in the 1970s, 60s and 70s, if you broke it, you weren't going to ever get another one. Simple as that. Okay, so there we are. Beautiful. Okay, so that's around on the Lazy Susan. Any other questions, I mean, by all means ask, but obviously you can see it's a fully glazed cab, which is great. The cab itself is black inside, okay, it's not a detailed cab, as you can see from here, but you can see where it's orange there, and it's not even lit, but see where the Firebox glow is? There's a little panel there, look. I don't know if you can see with my pointer going down there, look, down this side, but you can see there's your Firebox glow. What a lovely feature. I can watch the Firebox glow as it goes round. And in fact, that Firebox glow also came with my R297 locomotive as well. So a fantastic feature to have. Now I'm going to put it back onto the track again in just a few moments time. I will probably have a little talk about her as well, about the maybe about the 8F class of locomotive. Okay, so if you just bear with me, we're going to remove the Lazy Susan. Now, where did I put that railing ramp? Perfect. And we're going to bring the camera back up again so we've got a better view of everything. There's also an item by the side of the bed I'd like to move now. You probably saw it a minute ago, but we'll move that away for now so it's a bit of a distraction. There we go. Now let's put the camera back around to here. I don't know if you can see the railing ramp there. You can see how I get these locomotives onto the track. I almost invariably use a railing ramp. Okay, so we can put it down there. All the wheels have been, the wheels are actually on the track, no problem at all. Let's just put the Lazy Susan down and then we'll see if we can get her underway again. Beautiful. Okay, so we're away. Now, the Stanier ATEC, like I said, designed by William Stanier. He became Sir William Stanier. He was working with the obviously with the LMS. And these were made for a particular need. Train weights were going up and up for freight and for passengers. And obviously, with the smaller engines on the Midland Railway, that meant an awful lot of double heading, okay, especially on freight trains. Obviously a much more powerful 280 locomotive, more traction with the 8 driving wheels. They were built in various places, Crewe, Horwich, North British, Darlington, Doncaster. 80 were built at Geden Ross Swindon Works, my goodness. Balkan Foundry, Brighton Works, Eastleigh Works, Ashford Works, Bear Peacock. They were built between 1935 and 1946 and they totaled a number of 852 locomotives. So I think that underlying, I mean the fact there were 852 built underlines their usefulness. Fourteen ATEFs are known to have survived, with 6 NMS BR locomotives being preserved in the UK, and a 7th locomotive was used as a spares donor for other preserved ATEFs. None of the pre-war ATEFs survived from preservation. And of the 6 NMS BR locomotives that exist, only 4877P was purchased directly from BR for preservation. The remaining 5 were all rescued from Barry's scrapyard. That was Dywoodham's scrapyard, wasn't it? One absolutely superb locomotive. So that gives you a little bit of brief history of them. But they would have been a very, very common sight on our railways. Now, if you like what you see, please press like, subscribe, and sorry, I was cut off in midstream there. I was in the middle of saying that if you like what you see, please give me that thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that bell to alert yourself to more videos. So I've already said that, but I came to the end of my 30 minute limit on this camera, and so I'm going to have to put this tiny little bit just added towards the end on with editing software, so it won't take me too long. Not on my new computer that I bought. I've got a video on that actually, if you want to see that. And where that's important, you might say, oh, he bought a computer, what's that got to do with it all? But it does give you an insight into my video production process and what benefits that new computer has brought to my channel. Okay, so it is important in many ways for if you're a rowing modeler and a content creator. Okay, so there we are, the magnificent 8F. And on that note, I shall bid you farewell and bye bye.